often overlooked, some creative implementations of multiplayer components in games can enrich the experience. That's what I want to talk about today. I'm not talking about your standard PvP or co-op experience. I'm talking about the ones who end up creating an in-game sense of community for the sake of immersion. Or those experiences that can only exist by the unique relationship between community and game. One of such examples are the Soul series. Famous for being hard and unforgiving, From Software games are actually quite fair. You will die a lot, and they usually make that a point early on. That's because the game wants you to learn, to memorize movement patterns so you can overcome your enemy. In a franchise where danger lurks at every corner, the game refuses to hold your hand, which may be overwhelming for some. But there is a tool to help the player navigate this treacherous world: messages. Scattered throughout the world, the player will come across messages. They were written by players who have been where you are. Composed of only a few words limited by the game, they may guide one to an invisible wall with a hidden item, warn of a tough battle or a possible trap. In a game that constantly makes the point that experience matters, they give you access to the knowledge of others who were there before you. Does it sound too good to be true? Well, it is. The messages are written by people, and people can be unreliable. The system builds a whole in-game community eager to share their knowledge or just to get a few laughs for managing to troll someone. Some of the games have a like to dislike ratio on the messages, but in most of them you can't really tell if they're true or not. You'll still hit the wall to see if it's an invisible one hiding an item just because a message told you to, even if there was another one before that warning of liars. The game wants you to doubt. It wants you to think for yourself and not blindly follow. It will literally ask the question if you would jump off a cliff just because someone told you to. And sometimes that is the correct answer. Sometimes the messages aren't even meant to help or troll, but to just joke around. With the limited vocabulary provided by the game, you have to be a little creative to say something you were not supposed to. I cannot tell you how many times I approached a message next to a body on a balcony knowing it was try finger butthole. So stupid, I can't help but to laugh. In a world where secrets can be trivialized by information online, instead of fighting the online guides that break immersion and diminish the wonder of exploration, they embrace it by creating their own in-game unreliable community that help to guide and keep you on your toes. Journey is an indie game. Made for the PS3, you control a robed character on his path through sandy dunes and ruins of a civilization in order to reach the top of a mountain. Everything from the music to its beautiful art style are meant to evoke this almost spiritual journey. The constant sight of the mountain in the background makes you feel small in the grand scale of things, just another pilgrim on his journey to the top. With the seamless multiplayer integration, the player might come across other travelers on their path. They can't communicate via text or speech. The only means of communication are the music sounds produced by a button press. The players may assist each other, but they can't see each other's names. All of those characteristics help you to immerse on the feeling that you are one of many on this journey, and you need to help each other. It promotes a sense of camaraderie you can't get in most games. It also promotes a sense of scarcity. There are many on the path, yes, but the desert is big and they are spread throughout it. By removing the ability to talk, to write, to distinguish, you are just two people on a similar journey. Adding the touching story, vistas and music, you create an emotional attachment between both players, an emotional journey shared with a partner whose name you may never know. That is, until the emotional conclusion of the game, where you finally find out the names of the people who helped you along the way, listed in the game credits. The feeling of community is a little different from the one in the Souls games. Instead of feeling like people have been there before you and may guide you on your way, here you get the sense that you are not alone in this journey, that along the way you may find a kindred soul willing to cooperate. From the leftover assets of its multiplayer and campaign modes, and the little time some passionate devs could spare, the Zombies mode in Call of Duty was born. It was implemented as a secret mode at the end of the game, didn't have a story, and the main characters controlled by the players were, as I said, leftover assets from the rest of the game. The objective: to survive as many waves of zombies as you could. As bare bones as it began, it sparked the interest of the community, who began to come up with reasons as to why there were zombies in the first place, how they were created, and who were the main characters. The devs started to add secrets to the maps, Easter eggs, if you will, work on the story and provide glimpses of it. Years in the future, zombies is one of the pillars of Call of Duty. Easter eggs evolved and are a huge part of it. You have to perform a multitude of actions interacting with the map, sometimes really random and impossible to find on your own. The Easter eggs would reward the player with a music, an in-game advantage, or a continuation of the story, with boss battles and cutscenes. With how complex the Easter eggs were, the main Easter egg wasn't made to be found by one person alone, but by the collective effort of the community. It could only exist in the current way that we consume content. As soon as a new map would drop, the community would rush to search the map for secrets to share with their favorite streamer. Finishing an Easter egg was a community effort that took days and sometimes weeks. Hidden messages were found and community members would lend their talent to help decipher them. The lore and the story were complicated. YouTubers would specialize in explaining it. Zombies, made from the element 115, controlled by Samantha, then Richtofen, evolve into a Lovecraftian multiversal story with the goal of stopping an evil entity. The mode was created by passionate devs and has evolved by the influence of the community. The community is the reason it exists, and its format demands their engagement. Death Stranding is a game about a collapsed United States in its efforts of reinstating its connections in order to rebuild the country. The gameplay loop consists in delivering packages from one place to another through harsh terrain. You will build ladders, bridges, and ropes to help navigate it, and will find some made by other players. Your world is synchronized with others. You'll contribute together to build. The objective is to rebuild and connect. The multiplayer implementation helps to emphasize that point. You aren't just gathering resources to make things easy for yourself. The cities are isolated. A tough road and danger separates them. People are wary and the communities are closed from one another. There is no connection. Because you are connecting the cities to the network, building and effectively making the travel from one city to another easier by building roads, you get the feeling that you are facilitating the union between them. Distances get shortened. They start to feel like neighboring cities and not just isolated islands. More players can contribute to your structures as if they are now connected to the chiral network, helping rebuild and unite the country together. Travel is supposed to be hard and get progressively easier as you advance, because we are all building connections. Death Stranding's message is, we can always rebuild. These games need their communities. Some game experiences can only exist because of them. Call of Duty Zombies celebrates the community. It's a game mode tailored for the community experience, to share and discover together, to be rewarded for your efforts as a group. Other games can be more immersive because of its incorporation. In Journey, it conveys the feeling of awe, discovery, companionship, and, like in Death Stranding, unity and being a part of something bigger. You are one of many helping rebuild the country, or just another traveler on its way to the top of the mountain. You can't fully trust anyone from software games. That feeling is perfectly enhanced with the use of the multiplayer components, the implementation of an in-game community. The messages may help or harm you. You can summon a player to help you or get invaded by one. Sometimes they even use players as bosses for you to fight. Red ghosts show up. echoes from other players' death, teaching you what not to do. White ghosts show you other players at the same time and place. The road is hard, but you are not the only one. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from their mistakes. All the multiplayer interactions in the game are made almost seamlessly. You want to invade a player? Use an item or ring a bell. The messages and the ghosts are inputs of the community. They help to maintain immersion by discouraging you from searching for guides and to get you to learn from inside the game. Everything has an in-game reason to exist. Very little needs interactions from the menus, and you can't pause the game. Immersion is key, and you are a part of this world. The Souls games and Call of Duty can get away and have a lot of players interact with less intuitive mechanics like invisible walls or random actions to trigger events. That is because the community is actively involved and helping each other. Immersion is achieved because the mechanics in From Software games, Death Stranding and Journey are made to convey the game's message, to be able to overcome despair and distrust, to unite and rebuild together, to cooperate and reach a common goal. Thank you for watching this far. If you liked the video, subscribe to see more. Leave a comment if you have a suggestion for another essay. And here are some other videos I made.